How's it going, guys? This is Saber094 for all of my anti-meta people and the players that like to use regular Pokemon. I got a brand new deck for you guys today, and it's going to be based around this new Scizor from Obsidian Flames latest set. This is a straight up anti-meta Pokemon, has necessary components to at least be somewhat of a success in the current meta game. I mean, the HP is still terrible. You have no idea how frustrating it is to me when I look at these types of HP on Pokemon today. Regular Pokemon, specifically. But besides the HP, you know, the bottom stats are kind of standard. Weakness to fire, resistance to metal, double retreat, whatever. Weakness, this thing dies in one shot no matter what anyway. So we don't care about the weakness. But the important thing is the attack punishing scissors. So does 10 damage for one, but then it's going to do 50 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in a play that has an ability. So this is a very similar card to a Weavile that came in the Sun and the Moon era, I'm quite sure. Well, there was two really good stage 1 regular Weaviles that did more damage based on your opponent's Pokemon with abilities. There was one that hit everybody, even your guys, and then one that did more base damage based on your opponent's total Pokemon with abilities. And this is pretty much just like that. Only difference is you do a 10 base more damage, so it's slightly stronger. Now we do actually have one of those Appleton, the Apple Dude Pokemon that does this. Once again, weaker. I don't remember what kind of energy cost it has. But nevertheless, Scizor is the better of the two. Slightly more HP, I'm quite sure, if it's going to make any damn difference. And the 10 base damage is also a great help. Now, ability Pokemon are very, very popular these days. I mean, pretty much all of the best decks use a bunch of Pokemon with abilities. Best decks, popular decks. Whether you think of Charizard, Chien-Pao Water decks, the, what are they called? The Comfy decks, using those types of engines. I mean, what else? Gardevoir, if you want to consider that. Fusion Strike, just they use so many abilities, all of the Pokemon that are popular. So this thing is almost always going to have fuel to do a lot of good damage for just one energy. And this is important because our aim when using a Pokemon like this, it's going to be dying in one shot turn after turn. We attach one energy to make this attack, so it kind of balances out a little bit. We want to get 2 hit KOs on the most popular and powerful rule box Pokemon. So if they have 3 Pokemon with abilities, you're doing 160 for 1, which is pretty good. So that's range to 2 hit KO a lot of Pokemon. Now the stage 2 EXs like Charizard, they survive, which is kind of problematic. We need to do 210. And if they have 4 Pokemon, if they're foolish enough to have 4 Pokemon with abilities, then we do the job this way too. As long as your opponent has 4 Pokemon with abilities, you're getting 2 hit KOs and everything, which is the goal. Now obviously you can get 1 hit KOs if they fill their board with ability Pokemon, but most of the time it's not always going to be a scenario. It is possible, but it's not going to be happening all day. So max out the Scizor and obviously max out the Scyther. You got a few options for Scythers. I think this is the best one from Astral Radiance. 90 HP, all of them have 90 I think. And Blinding Scythe, you can do 20 for 1 with this, so somewhat usable. Now, Scizor is a Pokemon that it's just a stage 1 and it's very easy to just use your attach energy and attack. Some would say this basically would work best as just a tech, not necessarily to make a deck out of it. But I think you can definitely make a deck out of it, especially in this format with all the ability Pokemon around. And we have a few partners for it. It's not going to be in its own. So I got the Hisuian Overquill. The only other time I've used this card is with the Hisuian Decide I deck that I wish it was better. It's one of those Pokemon that's a stage 1 and it can inflict auto poison to your opponent's Pokemon. You do 5 damage counters as opposed to the regular 1, so it's going to add up if they don't retreat. And it is a costless attacking Pokemon. That's the point of this. So we can just use an easy Pokemon like this to put some pressure while we're setting up the Scissors. Or if your opponent doesn't have too many ability Pokemon, we can just use this as a substitute. You could do a bunch of other Pokemon pair up with Scizor. Not just this, but I decided to just do this for now. It's something. And I got the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler as our Radiant Pokemon for the deck. You don't really get any much benefit from having Greninja. We don't run a lot of energies, nor we want to discard them. And Serena, I mean, obviously, we don't got a lot of HP to tank. So this is just going to boost the poison of this guy and make it even deadlier. I'm trying to think which was the other Pokemon I was going to pair up with Scizor if I didn't do Overquill, but it doesn't come to my mind right now. Damn it. Yeah, my mind is a bit blank. I'm thinking of a bunch of things, but I've used the deck with Overquill, so I'm going to show you guys the deck, how I've used it in the matches. It's a 3/3 line. The Quillfish, we use this one that can do Ram. There's another one that can attack for cost us 2 and you flip coins, but because I got energies, might as well use this one in this deck. And then we do a 2/2 Barbaracle as well. So I got a little bit of space. I'm only running stage 1, so might as well run this guy too. Give us some helpful disruption, I guess, for your opponent. It's going to hinder them if you get this early enough. It can be something. You don't have to run it, but I like using it when I can. In decks like Palkia Vista and this deck, it just makes sense to me because I have the open space, you could say. I mean, we could have used some different Pokemon, maybe more consistent cards, but I can get by and just use this. So we're using this. If you guys don't know what it does, when you get this out, every time your opponent takes a prize, it goes into the lost zone. So if you get this early enough, you're going to deny them of prizes throughout the entire game. It's like they play with instead of their 60 cards, 55 cards, or however many cards they lose, depending on how early you get it out. 2/2. And then the last Pokemon is just Manaphy for bench protection. Now we do have a lot of Pokemon, 20 Pokemon, so it helps that this guy doesn't need energies to work, and then I only have 8 metal energies for Scizor, and that's basically it. You can use its cut 2 for 70 attack 2. It's not great, but maybe sometimes it'll come up. You never know if your opponent isn't playing Pokemon with abilities. We do sort of rely on this. So if they don't play around their Pokemon with abilities, I mean, they can't do what they want to do, and then maybe Overquill is going to become better if they don't have their setup. But just do be aware your opponent can't play around it. Now for our trainer cards, we have a bunch of stuff, standard stuff with the 4 Nest Balls, 3 Ultra Balls, and then I got 2 Ultra Balls. Just grab our Pokemon, Evolution Pokemon for the Ultra Balls, and then the basic Pokemon for the other balls. Standard stuff. Max out the trekking shoes, boost our consistency, and discard unnecessary cards. Pretty nice. I got the double switch. Gotta have a few switching outlets just in case they want to get something like the Barbaracle stuck. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we don't run too many energies, so even if they would get something like Manaphy stuck, it could be a problem. I mean, if I wasn't running Barbaracle, I probably would drop a switch for different cards. But, I mean, switches are always useful. So 2 isn't like I'm running 10. Alright. And 1 energy search for our item cards. So this is just something to grab one of those few basic energies we got. Deck thinner card, search a card at the end of the day. And that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else. Stadium of choice is going to be the Temple of Sinnoh. And I'm pretty sure... no, I don't have Path to the Peak because we're running the Sneasler. Only 1 stadium. Oh, actually, no. Damn, I'm going blind. I got the Dynatree here. Yeah, I knew I was running more stadiums. So, I got 2 of this because we don't want to hit our opponent for a lot of damage and then they heal. Not a lot of things heal these days, but I want to have this as opposed to just some other random stadium that's going to benefit our opponent, like the Artisan. That can benefit our opponent. My philosophy is always to try and not benefit my opponent as much as I can, and always reap the benefits of their own stadiums. It's just that player in me always want to have that control. So this doesn't bother us at all because we don't heal, but it might mess with your opponent. If it wasn't for this dude, you could have run Path to the Peak. it actually would have been a really nice thing to have here. Or actually, what am I talking about? I'm losing my mind. You cannot run Path of the Peak in this deck because I believe the ruling how it is, if Path of the Peak shuts down abilities, then this guy, he can't get the damage. So it's like they got no abilities, so this dude can't do any damage. So you can't run Path of the Peak. I think this is how the ruling used to be. Back when we negated stuff with Weavile in the Sun and Moon era. So maybe it's different, maybe I'm wrong, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure if you negate abilities, this dude isn't going to be doing damage. I believe, what was the other Pokemon that kind of worked like that too? I mean, it works with the retreating Pokemon when they decrease retreat. So, the Pokemon that do more damage depending on opponent's Pokemon retreat. So I would say don't run things like Path to the Peak because it's going to conflict with Scizor. If you find out the ruling, it doesn't conflict with Scizor, then fine, you can run that as opposed to Dynatree Hill. I didn't really research it, I'm pretty confident that's how it goes. Anyway, now supporter cards, we got some of the usual stuff, like the 4 Eonos, Solid Draw and Disruption, 1 Copycat, and I do triple Professor Research in this deck. We can kind of afford to discard a few things. Plus I got the Miriam as well. Depending on how much damage we do, for Scizor, we might not even need all of them. So having the Miriam as well just gives me even more of a extra layer of security, have enough recovery for our Pokemon. So that's why I do the 3rd research here. We don't run things like Candy and stuff. We worry about discarding. All right. The 1 boss's orders, use it at the right time, win the game. I think that's it. Now for the less unusual supporters, I got this dude again, Jack. Since I run a lot of different evolution Pokemon and I can kind of afford it, I can just use this card to grab 2 evolutions, get the Barbaracle this way easy, get a Scizor, attach an energy and attack. We don't need too many resources to get going, so this isn't too bad of a supporter here. And then I've got Grusha. She's pretty good in this deck because I don't run a lot of energies, nor do I attack with energies with Quillfish. So this might give me a nice plus draw when we don't have energies and we play this. So I decided to use this as opposed to Cynthia and other shit. But Cynthia actually would be a good card here because your Pokemon are going to be dying turn after turn. So thinking back, maybe I should include it and drop something else. But I mean, what am I going to drop? I guess this Jack dude or maybe Shauna, Copycat. But this is how I built the deck. It worked, so I'm showing it to you guys. And that's it. I mean, it's a very simple deck. I still don't remember what was the other Pokemon. When I was building this deck, I considered pairing up with Scizor. There was a different Pokemon I was considering, but I don't quite remember. Was it a stage 2? I do not know. Was it the Scyther? I don't think so, but yeah, there's a bunch of Pokemon you can probably pair Scizor with. Metal Pokemon too. Like, I was thinking, is there a way to use this with Dialga? But not really. It wasn't going to be good. But besides Dialga, other regular stage 1 Pokemon that could have been good partners. Either way. So this is the deck, Scizor Meta Kill. I'll see you guys on the matches. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What-ay?